Happy Monday, everybody, and Happy New Year. Well, you know that Walt and I have labeled 2025 will be the year of conflict. Now, not all conflict is physical, a lot of it is just words. And so let's look at the world of politics here and what we're probably looking forward to in 2025. If looking forward to is the word you want to use, I think I'd like to divide the camps into two separate camps. Politically, there's a camp that believes we can reform from inside, that all we have to do is get the right people in, make the right adjustments, and everything can work out. All right, I'll call that the inside camp. Now, there's another camp that says, oh no, that inside camp is so corrupt. And if you think that insiders who are benefiting from the system are going to willingly, reform their own system, you're crazy. We got to shut the whole thing down. We got to break it. Well, okay. Whether you're on the right or the left, you have an inside camp or an outside camp. There are Democrats who believe we need reform on the inside, just like Republicans do. And there are people on the left and the right who believe it has to come from the outside. On the left, you saw it during the last 4 years. We got to tear the whole thing down. We got to tear down statues. We've got to take down the history. We've got to totally remake America, build back better. All right, build back better, but first you have to destroy the whole thing first was basically the message. That's the outside camp. What are you seeing on the right? Well, you've got Elon Musk and Vivek saying, hey, look, we need to take down the entire education department. It's not doing anything. We have 90% of the public employees, government employees staying home. They never came back after COVID. Why do we need them? Well, okay, that's taking on the right. You also have, and the Fed. Don't have a central bank. We should return it all to the Treasury. So those are your two camps that'll be fighting it out politically going into next year. And there's not unity on left or right because the insiders, the outsiders go at it within their own parties too. Now, within those two camps, there are also activists and pacifists. So the activist side on the inside camp for Donald Trump, you can see it. It's Pamela Bondi. She's going to be the new Attorney General. Right? She's clearly your quintessential conservative, pro-gun, pro-life Republican who knows the system. She's going to try to work it from the inside. I think Kash Patel is going to try to rework the FBI from the inside. Well, okay, then you've got the activists on the outside camp. We already talked about them, Elon Musk and Vivek and that crowd. All right, but now you also have pacifists on the inside camp. Who are they? Well, a lot of them are us. All right, I did my vote. I chose the leaders. It's up to them. I don't need to do anything else. Let them do their jobs. Okay, and by the way, that exists on the Democrat side too. All right, and now let's go to the outside camp. What does the outside camp believe? You don't really need to break it all to bits. It will collapse of its own weight. You don't need to go in there with a sledgehammer. And I gotta tell you, I won't attribute this to Walt, but that's kind of where I am right now, because that's where I see this coming. Let's just look at the map here for a minute. What's happening in Germany right now? It's collapsing of its own weight. It couldn't continue with energy prices this high, with a government so disconnected from its people that it wasn't responsive anymore. Well, that government is now collapsed. Same thing has happened in France. Same thing is happening in Canada. But Trudeau can't go anywhere without being insulted and called out, and his own government, who's been supporting him all these years, they're turning on him. What's going on over here in South Korea? I don't know if you saw the standoff last week, where you've got one group trying to serve the president basically with a summons, and they bring up like hundreds of police officers to serve it. And they're met at the presidential palace by a bunch of army soldiers and his security service saying, you're not coming in. Well, all right, you can see it kind of there too. This is starting to break down. Same in Great Britain. What we're seeing is kind of the system collapsing of its own weight. And here in the United States, where are we seeing it financially? Well, all right, we're 400 days away from 40 trillion of debt. On a curve, this is just going straight up now. And the chairman of the Federal Reserve wants to keep interest rates high. Well, all right, Chairman Powell, I get it. You want to, stop inflation, but higher interest rates on 40 trillion of debt? We're already paying $1 trillion in interest per year on the debt. Are we going to get to $1.5 trillion? Are we going to get to $1.75 trillion? $2 trillion? That's not sustainable. It will come down of its own weight. I think the stock market, which I believe has been artificially propped up during the last year, will probably come down of its own weight. You don't need to smash it. So as this occurs, what are the winning investments? What will be the last investment standing? I believe it's going to be real assets. And I think there are a lot of wealthy people positioning the exact same way. So, like we said before, get ready for a bumpy ride, but I believe we're in the right stuff. And over the next few weeks, we're going to take on what will be the themes of 2025. And I hope you enjoy the next few weeks. And again, Happy New Year, and I'll turn it over to Walt.